the Point Beach, that's the nuclear drill, so everyone's talking that. Cindy should be in.
Morning, sir. Wait, yes.
Slowly going. All right, we are live. Sorry. So you can go right ahead.
Okay, I'll call today, May 6th. This should be order. Roll call, if it has to be excused, all our members are present. So, county board being here. We'll move on to approval and repair of the agenda. If everybody had a chance to take a look at today's agenda, I'll need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Tim, second by Kim. Any discussion? If none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Approval and repair of last month's minutes, or if you had a chance to look at those, if there's any additions or corrections. Look for a motion.
Make a motion. Approve the minutes.
Second. Motion, second, by Eric. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. We'll move on to public comment. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to speak? Yes.
Oh, we can turn.
Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah, I apologize. This is probably something I should have brought ahead of time. It could have been on your agenda, but we'll just get it on your radar and I'll do my 3 minutes and. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this morning. Yeah, okay, yes, Kim Brunner. So I'm Kim Brunner, the Executive Director of Entry Dairy Cooperative, third-party milk verification co-op that's qualified through USDA. We work with dairy farmers across Wisconsin, including many in Kewaunee and surrounding counties. I have a letter that outlines my concerns that I'll be leaving with you. I don't need to explain to you what an agricultural powerhouse that Kewaunee County is in our state. We've also set the bar as the best example in the state for how collaboration with local farmers can result in improved water quality and increased conservation practices that benefit both farmers and the environment. So kudos to you. Which is why I think it's important for you to address the current issue that's eroding trust slowly between your Land and Water Conservation Department and local farmers and landowners. Land and Water Conservation staff is being frequently seen on private property without legal permission. Yes, you do have the authority to enter based on Wisconsin Statute 9207, number 14, for reasonable performance of your duties. But your Chapter 30 ordinance, which is very well written, addresses inspection authority further in section 3005, number 2. And it says, I quote, if permission to enter lands is not given by the landowner, entry may be gained pursuant to Wisconsin Statute 660119. Refusal to grant permission to enter lands affected by this ordinance for purposes of inspection shall be considered a violation of this ordinance. So you see, the way your ordinance is written presumes that the permission to enter lands was first being sought from the landowner. So yes, we have farmers and landowners calling farmers who rent their land asking, who is this on my land? Why is the county here? What's going on? And their farmers don't have an answer because there's no communication about it from the department. Regardless of whether the land inspections are due to anonymous complaints or not, I cannot imagine a scenario where your local farmers wouldn't want to be immediately aware of an issue that needs to be addressed. Farmers are always part of the solution, and a simple notice of entry or ask for permission onto land would seem to be a professional courtesy and respectful of personal property rights. I can't see a downside for this simple action, yet I would hate to see your hard work and progress that you've made over the years in working with your local farmers to be ruined by staff interpretation of your ordinance, which is no fault to them. If the true intention of the ordinance is to work with local farmers, as stated in 3001, number 3, to promote the health and general welfare of the public by protecting and preventing contamination of groundwater quality in Kewaunee County, I would encourage the board to amend the ordinance to clarify that no entry is allowed without reasonable notice or permission, if that's your intent. We're also working with the DNR with Jason Knudsen, Brian Weigel, and on improving communication in the CAFO permitting program at the DNR level. At our upcoming meeting, we're going to be taking an in-depth look at the details of NOVs, NOMs, and referrals throughout the state, and exact reasoning, looking for any similarities or common issues that farmers can better address. So when further examining Kewaunee numbers provided by Jason at our last meeting, Just so you're aware, 13% of CAFO inspections over a 2-year period, 23-24, occurred in Kewaunee. 26% of all NOVs in the state were issued in your county. 7 out of 27, 11% of NONs, 8 out of 75, and 50% of the referrals to the DOJ, which is 1 out of 2. So we're going to see what surrounding counties look like as well. My point from an organization that works with dairy farmers all over the state is that farmers are always looking for ways to improve and better communicate. Based on our meeting so far, it also appears that this is a shared goal with the new leadership at the DNR. We're hoping you're still willing to participate in always improving communication as well as you have in the past. And it starts here. So thank you for consideration of a possible amendment. And we look forward to working with you if we get the chance.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public that wishes to speak? Anybody else?
Sue Weiser from the town of West Kewaunee. I guess I can stand. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, using figures from the Kewaunee County current official directory, roughly 60% of the estimated 21,000 Kewaunee County residents use private septic systems and private water wells. Our Land and Water Sanitation Zoning Department bears enormous responsibility to these folks and making sure rules and regs noted in Ordinance 15 are carried out in timely and even fashion. Case in point, making sure everyone complies with the 3-year pumping inspection regulation. And if not, the department is to follow through with notices and reminders and send citations to corporate counsel for the necessary fines and or other dispositions. Ordinance 15 facilitates that procedure. If I'm reading it correctly, this delinquent notice lists of 231 systems showing a notice date of June 23 into June of 24 implies no reminder dates or citation dates were given. That's 81%. Upgrading the technology and additional staffing would take care of this problem. Of the 231 on the list, 81%. So another sanitation tech is sorely needed to help in this area. 4,900 plus systems. Apparently the new technology that was supposed to be here in December has not arrived, which could help on this problem. But it looks like the CAFO's first committee lacks the will, foresight, and determination to make sure our Land and Water Sanitation Zoning Department has all the means available to do their jobs. I'm surprised the CAFO's first committee did not herald the arrival of the newest one on Croc Road. In driving down this road, one gets the impression of being in Oklahoma. It's sad to see another fence road destroyed. So I have a little musical thing for that. Where have all the fence roads gone? Long time standing. Where have all the fence roads gone? Birds and critters depended on. Where have all the fence roads gone? Gone for CAFO's most everyone. When will we ever learn? When will we ever learn? Best big is not always best. Many experts tell us big is not always best for man or beast alike. Where have all the fence rows gone? Ground to dirt, most everyone. When will we ever learn? When will we ever learn? Thank you. And one more. Ordinance 15 gives people the right, gives Davina the right to check all these, get all these ready. And should you give the ability to the zoning administrator, which she is, to issue citations, give a deadline, and then get those citations to the corporate council so that we can make sure that everybody is adhering to the 3-year septic
Thank you.
program. Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to the department reports. Turn it over to Dina.
So for animal waste storage permits, Almond Dairy is putting up a new Pippins manure storage with reception tank and transfer pipe. And our 151s have been starting to walk over. We're scheduling all those appointments for all our 151 walkovers. Travis always has permission, either verbally or the landowner meets him out there on site. Conservation plans, nothing. Public health, nothing for that one, for chapter 39. Sanitary has been extremely busy, so Paul and has been going out to a lot of sites, and this is how we're training Sam to do the engineering and for the soils too. So we've done 8 soil inspections, 2 septic inspections, an existing inspection report, 3 permit application, and 4 house numbers. For the sanitary, we are getting the new T-Tech. I don't know when it's coming through. They're working with the T-Tech software through Tammy's office, and then it's gonna come to our office first. That'll be that transition. So those reports that Sue was referencing doesn't have all the. So we do a follow-up and then we do another follow-up. There are some that have been referred to court counsel already for the septic systems that have failed and they haven't done anything for yet. We have not done any septic enforcement citations or anything for pumping yet. We usually can get them when they've done the 3rd letter, we can get those all pumped. Well, testing will be again in October. Our office is mapping almost 300 nutrient management plans and checking for compliance issues. The TMDL watershed is still coming through the DNR and LWCD. Not sure how we're going to carry out that workload yet because we just don't have the time for the TMDL right now. Technical stuff is actually really busy, so this is what we're training Sam on, and we're going to have Travis Buckley from NRCS start to train her. We're working on multiple waterway designs and some smaller leachate collection pits and possibly a manure storage for a trim grant. We're also delivering tree planters and signing up all the rentals. So we have 5 rentals so far for the tree planter, where we do all the agreements, take in how many trees they need, how many planters they need, when they need the planters, and then we send them, or we actually deliver the planters. So that is something else that we do. And there are several shoreline zoning on sites for setback determinations. And we're gonna have a couple more variances going through the Board of Adjustment later this year. There was another landowner who wants to put up storage units, and they are going to be petitioning the special exceptions under short-term rentals. So they're saying that they're sorry, my brain is not all good this week. They're saying that their storage rentals are short-term rentals. So, the first reading should be this month for the first reading of the new ordinance. However, we still have short-term rentals in there. So that's something that the board can look at. Questions for me?
October well testing,
Mhm.
have you found any grants or to figure out how we're gonna pay for that?
EPA is going to do the nitrate and everything again up to, I think they can handle 140 samples. So we're going there for that.
Davina is, I think it was Matt Wolfman, he said was putting a lot of the new septics in. Are they up to date or were, I know last year you said they were a little behind.
They've been all behind. I mean, there's so many they're also doing all the surrounding counties, so they're. A lot of people will call us and say, all right, we're on the list, or Van Gotham, and there's a multiple other pumpers. They come in and say, okay, all these people are on our list and have contacted, been able to get out there yet, so. Yeah, we don't.
So there's a lot of septics that are going in, they're just not done because they can't get people there.
And we only have one person that has to go out to all the septic installs to make sure the soils are all right, so. If Paul can't get out there, we only have one person in the entire county that has those credentials. So Sam is working on getting the credentials, but they're really hard tests, so she's been doing a lot of studying in there, so we've been pretty busy.
A homeowner, when they're putting new septic in, they can hire out, I know there's a guy, right? You don't have to have your office do, but there's a guy like Joe Maitland, here that can do soil testing, is that right or not?
There is,
Somebody else
but
can do
there's,
it other-
we have the inspection authority when they go in, so we. I don't know.
We still have to be there when they're installed.
Yes, they're supposed to be there when they install, and if you can't get there, they will take pictures of everything to make sure that the installation is correct. So we do have all those on.
Falling behind, or just because we don't have the staff, or the pumpers aren't getting there in time, a combination of both.
For septic?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the. I mean, the pumpers can get to when they want, and then. They don't have time, but then. Like I said, it's really hard to run the reports because we can't run reports on this new system. So we can run the delinquents.
Yeah.
But again, like we send another letter with a second letter. Reminder letter, and then we send a third reminder letter, so. We haven't had time, or I don't think we've had a way to. With this really old system to do the reports to see, but this new system, this new T-Tech will be able to do that. So we should hopefully be up and running. By the end of the year with T-Tech, I'm hoping. So that'll take a lot of that load off, and then we'll be able to send them to our council. But I know for council, I'm extremely busy too, so.
I think you gave us like a sheet a year ago, right, where you had like so many that Matt was gonna issue.
Yeah, so those weren't pumping. Those were systems that were failing or did not have the soils, yes.
Yeah.
So those we've been working with court counsel on those, yep.
So are people just not getting the forms in, Davina? Because I mean, if you have a septic system, you have to pump your tanks, or it's not going to work properly, correct? So I mean, why would a homeowner not want to do it? Or
Because they can't afford it. Or
you think it's that,
there's some of them that just can't afford it,
or is stuff not getting to you saying that the pumping?
no, because the pumpers actually come, and if they don't have the blue sheet.
Yes.
They have a list of, they'll have like a piece of paper with all the names and addresses that they have done, and then we have to enter those.
So that was my question too. I did do the pumpers report back. If I don't send my blue sheet in, the
Yeah.
pumpers report that okay. or
Yeah,
what?
so at the end of the year, we'll say, okay, these are all the delinquent, and then the pumpers will come in and meet with Paul and be like, nope, did that one, we'll get you that information, we'll get you that date, and that's how. We cross-reference right now.
No, but if they don't pump, you're right,
Like,
their system
system's not gonna
starts,
work,
your system
right.
doesn't work, so how do they pump? How does the house function?
And I don't know if there's really that many that are doing that. I mean,
Yeah,
I know Cindy gets out to some, when it gets that bad, and truly some of the people cannot afford to pay the $100 or $200, whatever it is, and everything is backing up into the house and running out on the lawn and doing everything else, so. Yeah, but I don't know if there's that many, but
Right, and that's the health department.
they get involved if it ends up in the house, and that's the problem, and they get pulled out there. And then it's,
and if we have a complaint right now, of one that is pumping into the ditch, so. We are working with court counsel on that one right now, too, so.
Okay.
Any other questions for me?
You've seen none, operating agency reports, we don't have anybody here from USDA or CS. I'm gonna talk to Jason, I was in the office couple weeks ago, I did mention the Berry district and our CS coordinator to try to come to some meetings. But this, who was before, geez, Joe Johnson would come pretty regularly. So we'll see if we can start the geez, at least quarterly basis, Barry, to give us
I think it's
updates.
about a year.
Quite a lot. I think Barry was here a year ago. To give us some NRCS updates, because I know there's a lot going on now at the federal level with funding cuts and that kind of stuff, so don't know what's affected and what's not. Either the extension, we don't have Eric or Chris here today, I think from USDA. Comments from state legislators, other agency or organization reports. Tim, do you have anything from Casco on?
There hasn't, I have a village board meeting tonight, so we're gonna talk about stuff. I report all that we have well testing. I have not heard a lot from the daycare. I have not heard a lot from homeowners, at least my phone hasn't rang, or they haven't come to find me to say, well, I privately tested and my gosh, I'm at 37 or 27 or whatever it is. I have not heard anything at all. I was gonna ask Davina that question. I mean, there's a whole lot of new homes that just went up in there again. And a whole lot of well drilling that went on, so.
I haven't had any phone calls or emails or anything from Casco.
Okay. I haven't heard much, so tonight I'll probably have a little bit more at the village board meeting. If some stuff is going on, I certainly will report back to here, letting you know what's going on, but I have nothing to say that I've heard, so.
Thanks, Tim. And then do you have back on, I mean, when I talk about NRCS, all about the federal level, are you seeing anything in your office with the?
No, we don't have federal funding coming through, so. The staffing grant is always kind of up in the air on what the governor wants to put in the budget, but.
Derek, I don't know if there's anything from a state report on from last month or.
No, we didn't end up having a meeting. They had that calendar up because I went there and there was no meeting. So I got nothing.
Any other agencies or organizations that anybody wants to touch base on?
I just got to ask a question. The farms have been doing fabulous around the village Casco. I mean, I've been watching, granted, we have a lot of trucks coming through, but Casco is sort of the hub for everything. Everybody
Yeah.
helps through there every day, so it's a lot of it. I think Kennards have been doing a great job. I think Pagels have been doing a really good job. I think everybody around the area has. I haven't had any complaints. I don't know.
I haven't had any complaints. Like I said, I have not heard anything from around Georgia Casco at all.
And spreading, to the north of us, we're very closer. I think the farms have been working really well with the village,
Yeah.
knowing that we had an issue, have an issue, and trying to see what we can change our own practices to make it better. So
Yeah.
I didn't know if you heard something.
No.
Okay.
Other matters to discuss, conservation updates. I did attend Peninsula Pride conservation conversation 2 weeks ago out at Kevin Schwegel's farm, just going over his cover cropping procedures, what the cover crops look like this spring, ways to terminate or planting green, and those kind of ideas. So there will be, I believe it's monthly, they have those conservation conversations. They started back up here in April. There will be one a month through the growing season, probably I would say in November, December. So those, you can find those on Facebook, through Peninsula Pride. Those pop up. They're just pretty much all the farmers field, 45 minutes to an hour, talking about things that are going on. So if you see one of them, anybody's welcome to attend one of those. Just to learn what's going on in the community. That's all I have for conservation updates. I don't know if anybody has anything else.
I was gonna ask, I'm sorry again, Eric. I was gonna ask tomorrow, I was hoping to ask Erica today. I think we had talked either in UW Extension or Land and Water last time about maybe if KFI, Kennard Farms is up with their system sooner or later that we'll see it so we could intelligently talk about what they're doing and how things are going. So I think, didn't Erica say last time she was gonna make contact with Lee?
Yeah, we're supposed to be doing a summer tour again this summer for the Great Lakes, so I was hoping to loop it in with that, just haven't had time to
Yeah.
do that yet.
Okay, good.
that, we'll move on to scheduling the future meetings, unless there's any other topics anybody else wants to bring up. Into June,
Good time would be the second Tuesday.
that were the first meeting. And then. I would suggest we could probably skip that meeting or do the fair. Unless you think we need to hold on.
Well,
Anything that,
Why don't we just hold July 8th? And then we'll,
is that, shall I need the week of?
yeah, it is, it'll be.
Well,
Well, I'll let you, let's just plan on not having one, and then if something does happen, it can. Yeah.
Later.
Because I think the kids bring their projects into this building on Monday, all right?
So yeah, then they'll have that. They usually have that all booked through. Well, let's just. I'll let you know if definitely we need one, and then we can figure out.
Sure, possibly.
Yeah.
That I'll look for a motion for adjournment.
Go ahead, Kim.
Make a motion to adjourn.
And I'll second.
Tim, second by Tim, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Carries. Adjourned 8:42.